So there are a couple ways that people choose to do their K1 or CR1 visas. Some people choose to file it themselves, and that's perfectly fine. Others choose to use a filing service, which is also fine. But there are different levels of service. Let's talk about first what happens if you do it yourself. You need to be very careful. 40% of self-filers are denied or they get a request for evidence, which would cause a minimum of 3-month delay to their application. If you are a very detail-oriented person that's had a stable job for the last 3 years and you enjoy doing paperwork, or you are a government-minded person like me, then there's nothing wrong with doing it yourself. If, however, you want to save time and have it done for you, like a lot of people, then having a service or an attorney do it for you is perfectly fine. You can do a service like a paralegal service that's Boundless. They're very affordable. Their plans start at $720. You can also go with an attorney. Now, some of them charge $7,000. You can go with someone like myself. I tend to be in the middle of that. Now, the reason I will say attorneys do charge that much, in my personal opinion, if you have, for example, a spotty criminal history, unstable income, or you can't verify your income, which is a big deal for a lot of wealthier clients, then it might be worth it to go with someone like me or an attorney. If, however, your case is straightforward, then maybe you can go with a company like Boundless. But here's the thing about Boundless. They mostly rely on AI. So your case is going to be handled by AI, and then when they say review by expert staff, that just means it's going to be reviewed by somebody in the Philippines who is earning $10 a day. So, it is what it is. But here's the big kicker. A lot of people who think their case is straightforward, their case is not straightforward. So let me give you some instances in which your case is not straightforward. If you got married online in Utah, your case is not straightforward. If you cannot verify your income, or you have a highly fluctuating unstable income, your case is not straightforward. If the beneficiary is a male, specifically a Middle Eastern male, your case is not straightforward. If you have ever been arrested, especially for domestic violence or anything like that, or with a firearms charge, your case is not straightforward. If the beneficiary has recently been divorced or annulled, your case is not straightforward. If the age gap between the beneficiary and the petitioner is more than 10 years, your case is not straightforward. If the petitioner and the beneficiary have different religions, the case is not straightforward. If you two got married online in Utah, your case is not straightforward. If the beneficiary ever worked as a model, your case is not straightforward. If you were a digital nomad and you did gig work in the freelance economy and did not report that income in your taxes, or your income is not US based, your case is not straightforward. If you have only met your beneficiary once, your case is not straightforward. Why? Because all of these things will automatically send your case for additional review, because USCIS has data that proves that these sort of instances lead to cases of domestic abuse and spousal abandonment. So that's why they're going to make sure that your case is really strong. USCIS understands that sometimes people make mistakes. So someone that got busted for smoking dope 30 years ago and they've lived a clean life ever since, they're probably not going to have any problem. If you just came to Christ and turned your life around 2 years ago, there's going to be additional scrutiny. So Boundless basically has 2 tiers of service. Their essential service is $720, and that is for AI, and then your case is going to be reviewed by somebody in the Philippines. Then they have another service that is for $1,200, and that's their premium service, where your case is reviewed by a lawyer. Here's the thing though. When they say reviewed by an attorney, we're not talking about a Harvard Law School graduate here. We're talking about an attorney that is willing to work for a budget company. So, third tier law school kind of thing. Also, you can't expect them to give your case a lot of attention. So review could mean anything. Review could mean they skim through it for 2 minutes and okay, I reviewed it. Or it means something in depth and where they're going through it with a fine-tooth comb. I highly doubt that that's the case. So the reviews on Boundless are mixed. Some people were happy with it. Other people felt that the customer service was lacking. People on Reddit said that they got generic answers that were copy and pasted from USCIS's website. Other people, their case went without a hitch. Based on the reviews, it could go either way. But I'm not actually going to disparage them. I think Boundless does have a place. For example, someone who is barely meeting the income requirement and they just don't want to spend $2,000 for somebody like me or more than that for an attorney, then Boundless might be a good option for you. I will say that immigration in general, you're going to have to spend money. Okay, so if you're going to do, let's say you do everything yourself, you have the time, you're looking at, once you talk about looking at the USCIS filing fee, affidavit of support, the consular fees, which is when you file your DS-160, the medical exam, and then the I-485 for the adjustment of status, you're looking at about $2,500 and just in fees, and that's if you do it yourself. So if someone barely has $100 in savings, maybe you might want to save a little bit more money before trying this process. But that being said, yeah, immigration is costly. This is why a lot of people are upset that they're spending thousands of dollars to bring their lover to the United States while other people are just walking across the border and claiming asylum. That's part of the reason. So I'm not knocking this Boundless. I will say I have clients who have used Boundless and then they end up coming to me because their case was screwed up. But I also have seen plenty of people who think that their service is just fine. Just understand that you are getting a budget tier service and you shouldn't expect too much. Alright, I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, or if I missed something, please let me know in the comments below and I will pin it to the top. Thank you. Oh, and if you'd like to give me a shot, you can go to my website and book a consultation at busybodivisa.com. I do charge for consultations, and this is just because I want to filter out people who are just looking for free information. I'm looking for people who are serious about having their visa done right the first time so they don't get an RFE. And the consultation fee is actually credited back to you, so you're not losing anything. So again, that's busybodivisa.com. Thank you very much for your time and for watching this far. God bless.